It's coming eventually.
Yeah, we're going.
All right, we're good. All right, D. Welcome everybody to a live stream. Before Dylan Perdomo, uh, before we get started, tell me how your Hoover experience went.
Very good experience, I will say. I mean, it was great to be in the atmosphere of the building. There was a lot of great, good, supportive fans that were there from every team in the SEC. I mean, there's teams that got beat out in the first round, and they're still there supporting, wearing their team colors. It was a great environment. Obviously, you hate to lose the game where it means the most, which was the championship game Sunday. But when you're playing a team like South Carolina twice, you go in extra innings twice, and then you also win the
Mm-hmm.
game by 1 run twice. Then you get a head coach ejected, which I think was a bad call anyway to throw out Jay Johnson. But
Yeah,
but
I agree.
I think it was the gas. I think the gas of LSU, the power, the Tiger power that we have. I think it just kind of ran out on us, and we just couldn't. I don't think we couldn't get us no more. But I still love the effort in the game, especially in the last inning. Almost could have had the comeback win, but I love the effort that we gave, and it was just. I think it was a great week for the Tigers. Very great week. I mean, obviously, some people can say, "Well, it doesn't feel right when you don't win it all," but when you actually look at the two games we had to play to get to that championship game, you will probably say was one
Yeah,
good success week for us. Very good success.
yeah, I agree. Coming 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 into going into the SEC tournament, you're off you got a sweep from Ole Miss, and that was probably you needed that obviously, um, and so then coming going into the SEC tournament, probably LSU fans and they expected they could make a run, but man, that was awesome. Um,
After
you know,
after that, after that first, I will tell you this one: we had the big support crowd after we won that game against South Carolina the first night. Hey, we came in with a big supporting crowd. And I mean, Jay Johnson spoke to it in his little interviews. He loved that the crowd of LSU came and they gave support. They stayed a long time. They stayed for a long time waiting for their Tigers to play. I mean, some people was already chanting "Go Tigers" when we wasn't even ready to play. Like,
yeah, that's and before we get into the bracket and stuff, yeah, that was that game against South Carolina. I you know I, for me, I think that was the wrong decision. Well, you know what you was probably watching it. Did you think the catcher was blocking the plate or what? Jay Johnson had a case too.
yeah,
Um,
I mean, to answer that question, I got
he didn't think it was the right call either.
to answer to answer that question, there's two ways I can say it. For the game perspective, when because I watched the interview that the umpire, it was like the head umpire of all the SEC umpires. He kind of got on and explained it more about how the call was. So I can see where that could have been the correct call, but also when you're in that moment of the game, the I mean, for me, it could have been a good call by the coach, bad call by the coach from South Carolina because for one, the pitch wasn't even thrown yet. There wasn't not even a pitch being thrown, and
yeah,
he was
yeah,
making it home. Well, I mean, for me, I think it shouldn't matter if the pitch is thrown or not. If someone's charging to head home, you got to make the play. So I thought it could have been. I wish they would have let that one go and say, you know what, they were making that team made a wrong decision by sending him home, and then we had to make the play. So, but I thought the
Yeah.
umpire, Jay Johnson said, the umpires we had Saturday, they were a good crew, but from how I was
Yeah.
watching, they were a very good crew, especially the home plate umpire. I think he was I think he was not consistent with his strike zone, and then it was just, I mean, I don't mind. I mean, yes, I can, but they called it a balk on the catcher.
They did. They,
Jay
I mean,
explained
you know,
balk catcher. I've never, and that's what Jay John said for his whole years of coaching baseball. And me, I'm not much of a baseball person, but I like to watch a little baseball. And I've seen balk calls made, but I've
yeah.
never seen one on the
Yeah.
catcher. Like, to me, if you were gonna call something like that,
Yeah.
call it a catcher interference or something. Like, I would say, I don't know, but but then
Yeah.
it
I
didn't
mean,
matter because we got the walk off home run right after it and won the game. So it was just
yeah.
it was just a good way to end that game.
Yeah. I was about to say, at the end of the day, it didn't matter, and that 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 ball was gone too,
Yeah. Um,
off the bat, I knew it was gone.
I was not expecting a walk off home run. To be honest, I was expecting us to
Yeah,
tie the game, and then we were gonna have to, and then basically we were gonna go to another inning. I was not expecting a walk off home run right off the bat.
yeah. That was good. Okay, so now it's time to let's dive into some the Monday they came out with the bracket for the regionals, and so I mean there's some there's some pretty tough teams. So the number one overall seed is Tennessee. From your perspective, what did you see from Tennessee?
Well, I really did not watch Tennessee too good, but when I watched that game against LSU, I think they have very good potential. I mean, they obviously have good pitching because we have one pitcher. I can't remember his name, but he pitched a good solid innings after we kind of blew ahead 1-0. He pitched a very impressive good game. So they obviously got the pitching for it. The hitting, I mean, the hitting was really good. It's just, I don't know. Maybe it's because our defense, we were kind of better, a little good on defense, that I really couldn't get much of a good hits off it, because the main hits they hit in that game was the home run and then one double that sent another player home. So there wasn't really
Yeah,
much hitting I saw, but from what I saw from the
yeah,
other game, but when I saw against Vanderbilt, they had some good hitting. So I think when it
yeah,
came down to the championship game, I think both teams lost all their gas of hitting because they were hitting home runs. I think I read one time before the game, before LSU. I think for LSU, I think we hit like 11 home runs that whole tournament. In the entire tournament, LSU hit 11 home runs,
yeah, yeah,
and there's no telling how many
yes.
Tennessee
So
hit.
yeah, Tennessee. You
Made a hit more than we did, or they made a hit the same number we did. So I think every team that made it to the semifinals can combine at least maybe up to 30 or 20 something home runs that they hit from all four teams.
yeah, yeah, you're right. So Tennessee's the number one overall seed. Number two is Southern Miss. Uh, Number three is Indiana, and number four is Northern Kentucky. If you look at this regional, obviously, Tennessee's a better team if you look at it. But you know, Southern Miss, I mean, I probably know why they paired them two together because of what happened last year, if you remember. Um, but I think overall, I think overall Tennessee is the better team. Um, and it's at Tennessee. It's hard to go on the road and win. Um, and so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Tennessee. Who out of this regional who you think gonna advance to the super regional?
To be honest, I think it's going to be Tennessee. I mean, I just think Tennessee. I look at Northern Kentucky. Is that right?
That's right.
North North Kentucky. I don't think that team is really going to be a
Northern,
big factor in this.
yeah, Northern Kentucky.
I feel like they're going to already be out of the way. Indiana, I can see them as a good potential in the game. Southern Miss is pretty good. I mean, Southern Miss did win the conference, so I can't see Southern Miss being
They
good
did.
competitor against Tennessee. But I think at the end of this regional, I think Tennessee is going to walk away with this one very well.
Yeah. I think. Yeah, I think Tennessee's gonna win. So they're matched up with the Greenville. Um, they're matched up with the Greenville regional. You probably don't know much about these teams, but number one seed East Carolina, number two Wake Forest, number three VCU, and fourth Evansville. You may not know anything about these teams, but I'll give you
Only two,
a
two I,
little
two I can
I'll
give
give you
you
a
from
little what
what ECU be East
so
Carolina.
so East Carolina, that's right. East Carolina, yeah. Um, and then so Wake Forest, you know, they're the overall, for my opinion, they're the better team in this regional. Like East Carolina, you know, Mississippi State, Mississippi State got robbed from a hosted spot from East Carolina. So I mean, so I'm gonna go. Like I said, I'm gonna go with Wake Forest because they're an ACC team, and they've been to Omaha. They've been to Omaha a bunch of times. As you may know, they LSU played them. Um,
Yes, one of
and
the
but East,
probably one of the
Wake
best
Forest, Wake
semifinals last was that game last year.
Wake Forest is a better team in my opinion.
Yeah, go
But
with you. I
if you
I'm gonna go with you. I think Wake Forest is the better team. I think, yes, you said it last year with LSU. I mean, I single handedly the best game that we ever watched was that game last year. I mean, literally 0-0 the whole game, and ended with Tommy White knocking a home run to send us to the championship game. That was probably the best pitching defensive game I've ever seen, and it was totally the game of the year last year.
oh, absolutely, and so those two will match up. Tennessee and Wake Forest. What a game that's going to be. Um, and but moving on. There's hold on. Let me do something. There's Kentucky is a number two overall seed. We can just go down. Texas A&M is number three. So North Carolina is number four. So North Carolina, LSU is in the North Carolina regional. Um, do you feel like LSU has an advantage going into that because North Carolina is a really good team, but the way LSU have been playing, they can beat anybody.
Yeah, I think North Carolina, they have a very good home field advantage for one thing, because we are playing in their home field. But I think Jay Johnson, I think he is prepared. I mean, he said in his interview Saturday, he said he's ready for more. It's just it gets to what this is the point of the season where everything we've done, it doesn't matter. This is the point of the season where we need to defend that national championship that we hold. So I think Jay Johnson is prepared. I think he might come out with a brand new batting order. He may come out with a new starting lineup, a new pitcher, new everything. You don't know what Jay Johnson's going to do. He may be totally prepared for everyone to hit and everybody to be involved in the game. So I think LSU, we have a good case on our hands to get ready for this weekend.
Oh yeah, I mean, then I mean, from an LSU's perspective, for me, I think that they're gonna go with their Friday night starter, Gage Jump. Um, then because you don't want to throw somebody out there that's I mean they're playing Wofford. Um, you probably hadn't heard of them, but
Never.
they
I did
can
look.
they can
I did my little research. I do my homework against when I check LSU against teams that we don't never hear of, and I will give you the rundown from that team. They are a Southern Conference team. It's a D1 Southern
yeah
Conference team, and they did win their conference
they won their
championship. Yeah, they
they
won their
did,
conference.
yes, yeah. And I mean they don't. I mean they got some pretty good hitters. Um, they got some they got some dangerous. They got some really good hitters in their lineup. So I mean, as much as they don't have the pitching, I think LSU has the advantage in going into that game. Um, so it's gonna be a good one. LSU is prepared. It's at 11 o'clock in North Carolina. And so for me, I think LSU can definitely win that regional. Um, I think I think
I
they
do have
can
a
definitely win.
question about the situation of the super regionals.
What's that?
If in your perspective, do you think if LSU was to win this regional, do you think we're going to have a host a super, or we're going to have to go somewhere?
So yeah, definitely. I think it depends. I mean, if LSU can win their regional, Arizona. I mean, if Arizona's gonna have to lose their regional for y'all to host. And if you look at their regional, they definitely y'all they definitely could lose. Arizona, Dallas Baptist, West Virginia, and Grand Canyon. You know those are no sleepers. Dallas Baptist is really good. West Virginia has one of the best hitters in the country. And so definitely, if LSU can win their regional, Arizona, if they lose, you'll see a super regional and at the box in Baton Rouge. Um,
Wow.
and so and that will be awesome. So let's look at Mississippi State for a second.
Uh,
You
there
know,
we go.
they're say so they're at the Virginia regional.
Hmm.
Virginia, they they've been to they've been to Omaha before. They're a really good hitting team. Um, so it's Virginia, Mississippi State, St. John's, and let's see,
Never heard.
and Penn University.
Never heard of a team called St.
Yeah,
John's. Like, do you have
yeah,
any rundown of who they are?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I've done some research too. They
We
did.
know how
They
to.
also won their conference tournament. What?
I said we know how to do our homework again.
So they also won their conference tournament. Oh yeah, I do some research, but they won their conference tournament. That's the only way they got in is to win their conference tournament. I mean, that's what it is about these. That's what it is about these. Like lower seat, like these mid-major programs that they're gonna have to win their tournament to make the postseason. So I've done my research. Um, they're a good hit team. They have like 3 players hitting over 300. Um, and so somebody Jamie. So for me I will start our Friday night starter. He's been good all year for us. His name is Kyle Steven. Last year or this year he transferred from Purdue to Starkville. You know, whenever we got him, I didn't know what to expect for about him because he really wasn't that good at Purdue. He started, but he wasn't that good. But coming to Mississippi State, he's been our best pitcher. So I think for us to win this regional, um, I mean, you always have to get past game. You always have to get game one. You don't want to end up in the losers bracket. So St. John's is a really good team, but yeah, I mean, St. John's is a really good team, but I think that we could win this regional. Penn, Penn last year, they played. They were in the Auburn regional. Southern Miss was in there. They won their Southern won the Auburn regional last year. So and guess who we're matched up with? Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
So we really need Arkansas to lose, right? The same way in LSU situation. If we win and Arkansas lose, we'll host in Starkville. So that's what you have to hope for, right? So and but maybe we'll see State and LSU in Omaha.
That would actually be
so
something.
Moving on. So we're just going to do the SEC team because we're in the Southeastern Conference and that's all we care about. So The Clemson Regional, you got Clemson, Vanderbilt, Coastal Carolina, and High Point. Obviously we'll talk about Vanderbilt. They had a good run in the SEC tournament. Eventually they lost. But that's kind of a tough regional, to be honest. Clemson going to Clemson. They've been a very good team this year. So I don't see Vanderbilt coming out of this.
I don't think so either. I think Vanderbilt's a very good hitting team, but they make too many mistakes, and I think those mistakes they make and they let the game get away from them. It just I don't know. I don't think I'm with you. I don't think I see Vanderbilt coming out of this one. And then again, we could be wrong. They may come out and hit balls to the walls, and they could be right in Omaha with us. So we don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And Coastal, they're not a bad team either. They're a really good team. That could be a dangerous in that region also. I will
give my statement to this one. I would actually love to see Coastal Carolina win this regional. Not saying this all. Not saying who I'm picking. I'm not picking them. I'm not picking them. But I'm saying I think I would love to see Coastal Carolina come out of the regional.
Yeah, going in, I want to see some upsets, obviously. I want to see some lower teams upsets, but, and baseball, that's a weird. I mean, it's a weird sport. Anything can happen. Um, so I mean, I'm gonna go with Clemson, obviously, but I think I think Vanderbilt can be really dangerous. I mean, yeah. So Athens, Georgia. You got Georgia. You got UNCW, Georgia Tech, and Army. I mean, Army, Army. Yeah, I'm not picking Army in this. Um, but what? Georgia. I mean, LSU beat the brakes off of Georgia.
Yeah,
Um,
I
but
really
they
didn't,
got the dangerous.
I really
They
did
got
not see how Georgia got into the regionals because, yeah, I mean, we struck early against Georgia in that game. I mean, we just came out swinging on them. I mean, that's what I was impressed about in the first two games against Georgia and Kentucky in the SEC tournament. I mean, we just came out swinging the ball bat, and I mean, and we was just hitting the balls everywhere, and we were just getting runs in. So I was really impressed by that. But I think Georgia can do pretty good in this
yeah
regional. They're on their home field, so that is kind of the plus in all of this. But I don't know. I mean, Georgia's
it
gonna have to
is.
step up their game a little bit. I mean they got beat out in the first round of SEC, so they've had plenty of time to regroup and get everything back going. So I think in this weekend they could probably have it back on track to hit the super regional.
And they have one of the dangerous hitters in college baseball, Charlie Condon. Um, he's been a spark plug for them all year long, and I think that if they have any chance of winning, I think he needs to be on. And but I don't know anything. I don't really watch the other team besides the SEC, so I really couldn't tell you. But Georgia Tech, they're not a bad team. They're not great. But I do have Georgia winning this. Um, so now you got Florida State. They're hosting Florida State, Alabama, um, UCF, and Stetson. Um,
Alabama's
so
going down.
Alabama, they got really hard. They probably not coming out of this regional beating Florida State.
I
Um,
don't see I don't see Alabama coming out of it. I do not see it at all. They may win. They may
no,
win the first game. They may win the first. Depends on who they play the first game. They may win the first game, but I see more of Florida State coming out of it than Bama does.
they play they play UCF.
That one.
They play UCF.
I
I
think
mean,
if any,
I think they'll beat UCF, but yeah,
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, go, but I think for every team, if you're playing a
you
team you've never heard of in the first game, you should win.
yeah, you know, I mean UCF, they're not a bad team. I think that Alabama should win this game, and I think that, but definitely Alabama's not going to get past Florida State, in my opinion. Moving up, we already went over Greenville Regional. Let's move down. So here's another couple of SEC teams. Um, Oklahoma State, Nebraska, Florida, and Nigeria, or whoever that is. I don't know.
I will
But
give
no,
you the
Florida, huh?
I will give you this one.
Can you hear me?
Oklahoma. Yeah, Oklahoma State is a very good hitting football team. I watched their championship game against Oklahoma the other game. They were hitting it hard. So I think Oklahoma is a very dangerous team in this regional. Oklahoma State.
Yeah, yeah, Oklahoma State. They they're a really good team. You know, they do have one of Mississippi State's players on their team. Um, and so they have some really good hitters, and I think that I mean Florida for an SEC from an SEC perspective, they're not they're not they're not gonna. I mean, they may win one, but I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're gonna be in a. They ain't gonna pass Oklahoma State because Oklahoma State has some. They got some real dudes in that lineup. But then see, let's see, let's see, uh, South Carolina,
Oh
South
Lord.
Carolina. They have NC State as a host, South Carolina, James Madison, and Bryant.
I would say
Another small
if
school.
Carolina plays as good as they did against LSU on both nights, they will definitely come out of this regional on victory.
Yeah, you know they have some. They have some pretty good hitters too. South Carolina does. Um, Ethan Petrie. Ethan Petrie. Um, they have some. They have some guys that can hit it over. So if they can, and it's tough to play on the road. Um, I mean, everybody wants to host. Home field advantage. Your fans. But I think South Carolina. I think if they want to win, they're going to have to. I mean, they're going to have to pitch it because East NC State has a really good has some hitters now. So but now Dylan, who who who's your team that you think is going to win it all?
Hey, Kobe.
Besides LSU.
Oh, come on! Come on now.
No, I know you want I know you think no,
This is
no,
the
I
team that's
know
winning.
that's the team that's winning.
But
Okay.
I will give you this for business purposes. If anyone besides LSU does win at Omaha, I'm going to go with Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Bottom
Yeah.
line, Tennessee or South Carolina is going to be or no. Tennessee or Wake Forest, because Wake Forest, they would have. I think Wake Forest would have won the national championship last year if they would have beat LSU. So I'm going to give Tennessee or Wake Forest my little vote. But unless them two are going to still be in Omaha, this is the team that's winning it this year.
LSU. Yeah, if like you said, if Wake Forest would have beat LSU last year, I think I think they could definitely beat Florida.
Oh, they would have run ruled Florida both games, no doubt.
Yeah, yeah. I think and LSU give them credit. They I mean they were the better team. And so I think and don't count Texas A&M or Arkansas. Um, I mean so one more thing. Um, so out of pick your pick your 8 teams who you think will be in Omaha when we get there.
Oh, Kobe. Well, I can't even tell you all the teams that we have, but I will say LSU, South Carolina. I'm gonna help you out, Mississippi State. Um,
I think Arkansas will get there. No, no, sorry, they can't because we're going to beat Arkansas. Sorry,
yes, Arkansas.
Arkansas's not going.
Can I say? Can I? I'm gonna actually give a coin toss on this one. I'm gonna say Coastal Carolina may be there.
South Carolina. We all want. Well, we all want Southern Miss to beat Tennessee, obviously. Um,
Yes, but
you know,
I feel like
we want.
Tennessee is going to play Wake Forest in the Super Regionals, and Wake Forest will come out against Tennessee. That's why I'm going to say Wake Forest over Tennessee right now.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
we got
I think that you know, like it all starts. It all starts Friday. It all starts Friday. Omaha. The road begins Omaha Friday. So everybody. Everybody's have to be on their A game. It's not going to be easy especially
I
for
will,
LSU or Mississippi State. Um, but
can
I'm
I,
actually
I, will,
I'm actually,
I will- can I make a little announcement about the time games for our team, State and LSU?
yes. Tell me.
LSU will play Friday at 11 o'clock on ESPNU and ESPN Plus. Mississippi State will play at 12 o'clock on ESPN Plus.
Yeah. So
I've done my
if
so
y'all
I've kind of
wanna,
which I don't know why Mississippi State's
yeah,
playing on ESPN Plus. I wish I would have played on SEC or something, but you know.
yeah, there's so many games going on Friday that they probably have to spread it out. Um, but if LSU will, so next week or sometimes next week, if LSU and Mississippi State make it out of the regional alive, uh, we'll we'll come back and we'll talk about it. And we'll talk about it. And so Jay Johnson, the coach, he coached at Arizona, so that may be a good matchup. So um, so we'll see. But
I do
yeah,
have
so
one
that's
I do have one question about one team that did not make the regionals, and I think you probably know the team I'm talking about.
is it from the SEC?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I definitely. Is it Ole
Um,
Miss?
Shocked that Ole Miss did not make a regional this year. I am definitely shocked by that.
Wow,
I didn't know
definitely.
how. In your opinion, what do you think happened? Like, what do you think happened that made Ole Miss not go to regionals?
Okay, well,
Besides y'all beating them in the first round, of course, but
no, no. I mean that obviously has something to do with no, but the reason that they didn't make it because LSU swept Ole Miss, um, and because Ole Miss, they finished they finished below 500. So no teams below 500 ever makes a regional. Um, so you at least have to make you at least have to win 13 SEC games. Um, to even have a shot at making the regional. And give credit to Ole Miss. That they won the series against Texas A&M, but they couldn't. I mean, they couldn't stop LSU. So if they would at least won one game against LSU, we may have a different conversation. But since LSU swept them, it's hard to make a regional unless you have to win the SEC tournament, and Ole Miss didn't because Mississippi State just beat the brakes off of them and walked it off. But
it was I was about to say, Brace Cubby. It was a walk off in the ninth inning, like went
yeah,
losing 1-0 the whole ball game and come back and win it. Come on now.
yeah, and speaking before we get
We
out of
came
here,
we were down 8-0, and we still came back and beat South Carolina. So I really can't talk. We were getting beat worse than that.
I
But
mean, yeah, I mean, speaking before we get out of here, um, yeah, going back to that Ole Miss game. If you may not watched it, but um, both pitchers really shoved.
mm-hmm.
Um, mean, give credit to Ole Miss pitcher Riley Maddox. You know, he was he was from Jackson Prep, um, and Mississippi State's pitcher. Both pitchers real they really did good pitching. But the one thing the one thing made a difference is that there's one, if you remember, there's one player from Mississippi State that told 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 every told Ole Miss players to shut up, and he just yanked it over. Um, you know, it was and Mississippi State was down to their final out. They were down to their final out.
Literally down to the final out, and all you had to do was get one out and you win. And yeah, that was kind of a stunner for Ole Miss,
That
watching
that
their
that
out getting basically shoved, basically getting knocked out of the park. Basically, their last
yeah,
out.
and yeah, that happened. You know, that's real. You know that put a bow on their season. You know, because you know they I mean obviously they want to beat Mississippi State, and we want to beat Ole Miss. And so you
I
know
mean,
it just felt for me.
we was at the Governor's Cup. We saw that game, how that game went. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, for me personally, it just felt you know getting that ball off the bat. It just felt pretty. It just felt really good to see. And I knew it the way that he was staring, the way that his name is Connor Hijack, the way that he was staring, I knew off the bat that it was gone, and that was a strike right down the freaking middle. But you know, but we'll see. You know, regional before we get out here, regional starts this weekend. You know, LSU at North Carolina, Mississippi State at Virginia, and we will. So what? So one more thing. What's the keys for LSU to win? I mean, just game one. You know, I think
Well,
you know
my
they're gonna throw their best.
yeah, my keys to LSU winning is not only for game one. This is for the rest of the season. I'm just gonna go ahead and put it down for you for the rest of the season. LSU, the key
All
to
right.
this one, we cannot lose another game. We need to be on point every day, every night. Doesn't matter who we play. It doesn't matter if we used all of our pitchers. Don't matter if we hit 3 home runs one game and hit only 2 or 1 the next. We need to be on point. We got to hit the ball. Tommy White and them, they have done such a great job this season, but there's been times Tommy White and them have kind of slowed down a little bit. It's time for them to pick it back up. Michael, Tommy White, Jared Jones,
Braswell.
they gotta rack some hits in. This is no longer a regular season game where we're just playing a game and then we're gonna go on the next week. No, this is it. Like one lose of a game, your season could be over. Like you never know how when these tournaments work. Like one game you lose, you could be done with baseball for good.
Oh, yeah. So yeah,
So I just
for one
so
more,
I
and
think I think our defense, I think our hitting needs to impress more. Fielding on defensively, just don't make mistakes. We can't let the errors. I think there were times we kind of gave a few errors. We obviously cannot give away errors. We need to be hustling to the baseball more. I feel like there were times we kind of let the baseball drop and it was dropped to the ground and we were right there at it. So I think we need to be on point of, especially on fly balls, we need to be on point of where the ball's at so we can get the easy out. And if the ball does hit the ground, we need to be fielding it and throwing it in. There does not need to be trying to pick it up and go and trying to throw it somewhere else. Like if the ball's right there, field it and throw and take it to throw it to where the nearest base is at that the runner's coming to, and we need to get the outs. Like we got to get the outs, we got to get the stops, we got to get the pitching. We need to quit. I think our pitching coach needs to really kind of work on the pitching. We got to get some in them areas where they are swinging at it the most because we're throwing a lot of low and high pitches, and that's what's killing us in games. We need to get some of them pitches that are like inside corners, outside corners, or right down the pipe and get them swinging at it so we can strike people out.
Oh
But
yeah,
basically, it's all about just hitting the ball, play hard, getting after it. All coaches needs to step up a little bit. Jay Johnson's a very good head coach. I do think he wouldn't be at LSU if he's not a good head coach. So I think
that's right.
he's prepared his team up a little bit more. And then, Tommy White and them, they just got to be hitting the ball. I mean, just go out there, swing at it, and hit it, and let's knock some over the fences if we need to get us another championship in us.
Yeah, one more thing. Tommy White. Speaking of Tommy White, this is his last. This is the
Got a,
last.
got a picture with him, by the way. Mm-hmm.
I saw that. That's awesome. And Hayden Travinsky.
Yeah. We'll throw him. We'll throw him on the side for a little bit.
Yeah.
We talking about the man, Tommy White.
Yeah. Speaking of Tommy, looking at we're about to be done. Looking at looking at his career, especially over the 2 years at LSU, what an impact he made. LSU probably wouldn't be in the situation without Tommy White. He this is last year. It's pretty sad to see him go.
Yeah.
But he's gonna be an LSU legend for many years to come. So I think what?
I said same as Paul Skeens.
Oh yeah, same as Paul Skeens. And so we'll see how everything plays out. But that's gonna be it, Dylan.
I got one more for you, Cubby, and then we'll let it go. Okay. What about Mississippi State? What about Mississippi State? What do they have to do the rest of the season to claim a championship?
Well, obviously, if you look back at the past 2 years, things didn't go the way we wanted it to. But now, since we made it back in the postseason, the keys we have to do is we have to get our two best hitters going. Dakota Jordan and Hunter Hines, they went. I think they went a combined. Well, Dakota Jordan did have a hit late in the Tennessee game, but they had a combined 0 for 48 in the SEC tournament. I think, and they couldn't hit. I don't know if it was 0 for 48, but they couldn't hit. So the one thing is we have to get them to go because they're pretty much our best hitters. Another thing, I mean, State's been pitching it really well. Our two, we have but outside of LSU's two pitchers, State has the a 1-2 punch. Friday and Saturday, guys. And so Cal Steven and Drangelo Sanchi, they the ambidextrous pitcher. If you remember him, a switch pitcher for Mississippi State, I think the pitcher's going to come. It's just about getting those timely hits. So for me, I think we have. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's a tough regional. Don't get me wrong, but I think Mississippi State, if they want to win, they're going to have to do a better job hitting because they got people in the SEC tournament. They got people in scoring position, but they just couldn't score. So that's one thing. You got to get them around and home. So, but I think that if they can get those, if they can get those two best hitters, Hunter Hines and Taylor Jordan going, I think Mississippi State could be a really dangerous team. But so we'll see, D. We'll see. I mean, if state comes out, if state and LSU comes out of this regional, they survive and advance this regional, we may have to, I mean, come back next week and recap it and look forward to the super regionals if you're down. So,
Oh yes.
but that's gonna be it, Dave. If you don't have any other questions,
Only
we
only
can
thing
wrap
I-
this
only,
up.
only thing I like to wrap it up with is always remember, doesn't matter who is watching this and what fan you are, always remember this. Go Tigers. Always. Go Tigers.
Yeah, that's it. The Tigers, that well deserved by LSU fighting their way back into up the postseason. They've been here a long time. Well, they've been to a postseason more times than not. They won. I think they won like like 12 championships or seven champion. I can't remember. I
We've won.
can't keep
We've
up.
won a lot. There's a lot of championships that people does not know LSU has actually won, and I have done my research a lot with LSU sports. We actually have a very high rate of national championships. I think after this year's gymnastics team won the national championship, I think that racks up our 53rd overall national championship in every sport of LSU. That's count
That's
every sport.
that's correct.
That's count every sport that LSU does: baseball, basketball, golf, gymnastics, football, all of that. 53 national championships we are holding in LSU in the trophy
You know
cases.
that. I mean, that has to be a record, right? I
It's a pretty high rate. I don't know if it's the highest thing, but I mean it's a pretty good high voltage rate of national championships if you're holding that.
yeah, and probably and the like some LSU championships, probably was way before we were born.
Oh yes,
Um,
most of the championships we have won was way before back when. And I'm sure it's probably been the same for like State and Ole Miss and all them. They probably won multiple national championships before we were before now, and now we can't even. Now all three can't even win anything barely. If we do, it's a
but
great year when we do win it. So
speaking speaking of states championships, the only championship we won was baseball. That's it.
really,
Um, that's it. We only won in baseball. I mean, we made no national championship. I mean, we won SEC championships and stuff like that, but one national championship was in baseball. So I
oh yeah,
mean, that's a pretty for me. I think so. Pretty good one. To I didn't think state was gonna even do that. So, but if you don't have anything else, I guess we can get on out of here.
I think
If
we
you
good.
if you don't have
Pre-
anything.
pre-
Yeah.
Appreciate you having me on
All
here.
right.
I enjoy.
All right.
Um, like I said, to sign it off, go Tigers. Always. LSU.
Oh yeah. See y'all guys. See you, D. Um, hold on, D.
Go
Hold on.
Tigers.